All right, JHK here for Sportskeeda, and joining me right now is UFC featherweight Justin Jaynes, the guitar hero. What's going on, man? You got the sweatsuit on. What are you doing right now?
Yeah, just get a little extra calorie burn, in case I go and drink some beer this weekend. I gotta burn those extra calories, man. I got a real tough weight cut coming up, and I'm just getting ready for it, man. Put my sauna suit on, get my jog on for an hour and a half, and we'll call it a day. What's going on with you, man? Long time no talk.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I try to always talk to everybody, but you've been taking these short notice fights, so it's been difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of been my MO since the beginning. When I got signed to the UFC, I told them I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, any weight. And unfortunately, I've taken a couple losses because of it, but I show up every time. I make weight every time, and I give it everything I got every time. So that's all they can ask, and that's why they keep bringing me back.
For sure, man. Well, let's get into the last fight, man. Early February, you jumped in on days' notice. You took on Devontae Smith. The fight was stopped in the second. The eye injury. Take us through the fight, man, because it was a good fight. And what was running through your mind after the fight was called off?
It was a really bummer. I think Devontae, Smith's super tough, man. Very rangy fighter. I was really concerned about my cardio going into the fight because I didn't train for the fight. I hadn't sparred one day. I took an injury in training in January. So I wasn't sparring. I wasn't wrestling. I just was doing strength conditioning. So honestly, going into the fight, I was a little nervous about how my conditioning was. Him and we went tit for tat in the first round. At the end of the first round, I felt good. I felt fresh. Unexpectedly, I was worried I was going to gas. Second round, my coach calls for the takedown. Man, I tell you what, I have one thing to complain about the UFC is the canvas. It's so slippery, and I see it every Saturday. I'm watching a fight. Somebody's slipping on this canvas, and to Devontae's or Smith's power, he got a great sweep on me, but it looked a lot better than what it really was, man. It's that canvas is just so slippery. And anyways, so he takes me down. When the doctor stopped it, I was super bummed because I've gotten swollen before, I've gotten cut before, and I thought it was an early stoppage. So when we're getting ready to raise our hand, the camera guy was right in my face, and I told him, hey, put the camera on me. So he puts it on me, and I look up at the screen. I saw my eye, and I realized it was a good stoppage.
Yeah, the eye was pretty messed up, man. And from what I've seen, it didn't look like you got any damage to like your orbital or anything like that. It seemed like you kind of recovered pretty quick. Was the recovery good?
Yeah, man. My eye was, within 3 days, the swelling was gone. There was a little blood, a little redness in my eye, and that was it, man. There was no damage to the orbital. I think it was just honestly a freak thing. I wish I could understand why it happened. I don't. I don't feel like he hit me with any really good shots, devastating shots. And, it just is what it is, man. I got swollen up, and the referee, fortunately, looking out for my best interest, my health, and he made a good stoppage.
Now, that's 3 in a row. Where were you mentally after the fight? Because a lot of people, when you lose 3 in a row, they think, oh, man, it could be, your walking papers there, but they didn't. So what was going on?
I didn't think they would because, again, showing up. I show up. My first fight was on 2-day notice. Devontae Smith was on 2-day notice. Gavin Tucker, 3-week notice. Benitez, 2-week notice after I had COVID. They need guys like me who are going to show up and make weight. I don't just say I'm going to do it. I do it. So I know they appreciate it. I don't negotiate. Like, I don't ask for more money. I don't ask for anything. They just send me the paperwork. I sign it, and I show up and fight. I love competing, and, competing in the biggest show, in the UFC in the world is just a dream come true. So, I don't give them a hard time about anything. And I just going to continue to show up, man. And, I'm on a 3 little skid now. If I lose to Charles Rosa, I should be sent out the door. And, that's all there really is to say about that. I know that. I expect it. I understand the business. No matter how much they like me, no matter how much I show up, you still got to get wins. With that being said, is maybe I have to change the game plan. I want to go in there and have exciting fights, but after a 3-fight, skid, I might have to change it, make it a little slower pace, a little more boring, but it is what it is. I need to keep my job.
Definitely. Now, 5 months between fights, that's the longest in your UFC run. Gives you a lot of time to take advantage of. and work on some stuff before you head into a training camp. Did you work on anything in particular before you started preparing strictly for Charles Rosa?
No, not really. I mean, I honestly feel my game is solid, ins and out. I have good boxing, I have good kickboxing. I was a collegiate wrestler for 4 years. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, I'm not saying I don't have holes in my game, because we all have holes, but honestly, just being in shape and able to put together a correct game plan against a very tough opponent, I genuinely feel I can compete with anybody in the world. Charles Rosa, no exception. He's a fantastic grappler. He's been in the UFC for almost 10 years. This is going to be his 10th fight. And that's what really cracks me up. This is his 10th fight. It's my 5th fight. I've been in the UFC for 1 year. He's been in the UFC for like 8 years. And I'm just cranking him out, dude. I love to compete. I don't take tomorrow for granted. And, I want to fight as much as I can, as quick as I can. So, again, to answer your question, just really getting in shape, getting my weight in check, getting the right coaching staff. I hired a new coach for this camp, Jake Shields. UFC vet, fought George St. Pierre to a decision, a while back. To me, one of the best grapplers ever in the UFC. And, he's my third man in the corner now. I've been working with Jake for 2 months now. There's nothing Charles can throw at me that I haven't seen already in training.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Jake Shields, man. A great addition to Extreme Couture. You've been there 10 plus years. Break down Jake Shields and like what he has added to you the last couple of months.
You know what? Honestly, the biggest thing Jake has added is confidence. When you got guys like Dennis Davis and Roman Isbell and Andrew Jacoby and James Lee, and Carol Rowe, and all my training partners believe in me is just great. When you see a guy that, I don't know Jake. I didn't know Jake until 3 months ago. So for him to take a liking to me and for him to invest his time into me feels very, very special, because he sees something in me. This isn't just a payday for him. It's not like he's getting paid $1 million. He sees something in me that I think that he thinks is special, and he's putting a lot of time into me. So that makes me feel good. And it's just such a confidence boost. An athlete, a fighter, a grappler of his caliber, showing interest in me, like I said, I lost 3 in a row, and I'm starting to question, like, man, fuck, like I'm on a bad skid here. And then Jake Shields steps up and said, hey, I want to be a part of your team. And it's like, fuck, all right, maybe maybe it's that was a nice confidence boost at the right time. So Jake is added to my repertoire of grappling defense, grappling offense, wrestling, and confidence most of all.
Speaking of confidence, I'm pretty sure you've had a bevy of training partners. Extreme Couture has become just a major hotbed. The last couple of months, man, which individuals have been most pivotal for you?
Honestly, not big names, Dan Ige has a fight coming up. We train together a lot, but I wouldn't say he's my main training partner. Johnny Nunez, a couple-time Ultimate Fighter vet, Misha Tate's boyfriend. I trained with him a whole bunch. Johnny Case, I was training with for the last couple months. But honestly, I want to give credit to my boy Zach Thorne. He's a beginning amateur officer. Nick Perez, who's been coming in. Duke 2. These are all guys that have been helping me out through the last month. They've been putting their time into me, and they don't have the big name yet, but they're coming along, man, and they've given me so much work, and they've always been there for me for a body. So I really have to give a big shout out to Roman, Zach Thorne, Nick Perez, a cop in Metro. He's been coming in several days a week to give me work, and I always feel bad about these things because I know I'm missing people that deserve to be shout out, but those two have been my main guys for this camp.
Speaking of cops, man, some of these cops, I think that they could be fighters, huh?
Yeah, some of them can. Nick, like I said, he's super tough, man. He's a cop in in Las Vegas. And when he's beating up bad guys tonight, he comes up and he beats on me during the day. So, I'm really happy that he's put time away from his family, away from his friends to come and help me out.
No doubt, man. So how do you see yourself getting back in the win column against Rosa, man?
Honestly, I feel, I've worked a game plan of just being patient, man. Charles he's a long vet of the sport. He's going to be in great shape. He's going to be coming with his wrestling, coming with his grappling. He throws a lot of awkward kicks, switches stance. Honestly, I think I'm just going to be in his face the whole time. I'm in shape, and I'm just going to be the bigger, stronger fighter. And, he's going to be rolling underneath for leg locks and stuff if we go to the ground. And, I've been working again with Jake Shields, man. There's nothing that this guy can throw at me that I haven't seen. Not to mention, I don't care to go down to the ground, man. I'm fighting for $50,000, $75,000. I don't want to mess around with that wrestling, grappling bullshit. I want to knock this guy's head off. I want to knock his head into the stands and collect my check at the end of the day.
All right. Now, whenever I get ready to interview a fighter, I always think about my experience with them. And my first experience with you was in 2018, Super Fight League, India. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's something that you'll never forget in your lifetime, because you went out there and had some wild experiences. Now, that organization, it seems like that was the last season that they had, and it could be dead, right? So, you know, you're etched in history with that. And India's going through some hardships, man. You know, what do you remember most about your visit there in that country and, you know, just outside of fighting?
You know, honestly, I really enjoyed my time in India. Probably the thing I remember the most is people being late. It was so frustrating as a fighter, because if we scheduled something at 4 o'clock, like a training session or something, it usually either didn't happen or it wouldn't happen to like 6, 7 o'clock. And even towards the end of my trip, when I knew I wasn't going to fight anymore, like, all right, you have to be here at this time, I wouldn't even show up, because most of the time they weren't showing up anyway. So why the hell do I have to take my time out of my day to show up? But besides that, you know, and whether, I don't know if that's a culture thing or just with the SFL was unorganized, I really enjoyed my time in India. Probably my favorite thing to do in India was go out and play soccer with the kids, man. Is like me and my buddy, the Shark, Anthony Avila, we go out there, go block down the street every day. There'd be 20 kids out there playing soccer. And they, you know, being American, they'd always, you know, holler at us to come over. And most of them, you know, they speak Hindi. I don't speak Hindi, but maybe 1 out of 20 of them would speak English. And it's funny how sports, you know, whether it's fighting, whether it's soccer, whether it's football, basketball, how it can bring anybody together, whether you speak English or not. I don't speak Hindi, they don't speak English, but we both speak soccer and we both understand what the point is in soccer. So it was cool. I really enjoyed that. So that was probably the thing that I remember the most and appreciated the most, because, you know, we're fucking playing on cement and 15 out of 20 of these kids are barefoot. And it's like, man, you know, you got people complaining here. Oh, I live in an apartment. It's like, that's not a hardship, man. You know, probably the worst thing I experienced was hanging out with these kids. And, you know, afterwards, me and Anthony would try to buy them water or Gatorade or a new soccer ball or whatever. We'd go into the store and the kids couldn't come into the store. They weren't allowed into the store. I'd be like, oh, come on, you're with us. You're good. No, I can't. The store owner would sit out front and make sure they didn't come in. And it's like, man, it was like racism almost, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, but against their own, you know, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. I don't know the reason, but that stuck out to me a lot too. And, you know, these kids facing these hardships that they're dealing with. So, you know, it was a great experience. I'd love to do it again, except I'd like to coach. I wouldn't want to fight there because the fighting was just, it was crazy, but I would go back to coach.
Yeah, man, MMA bringing people together, and yeah, it's just a crazy situation in India right now, what they're going through, but, you know, puts everything into perspective, right, when you get back to the States.
100%. We have it so good, you know, and all these 90% of Americans that are bitching and crying about all that shit, they don't know what real hardships are, man. And I can't say that I do. And even for the little bit that I have, for the little bit that I've made of my life, man, I live like a king compared to a lot of these people. And, you know, I wish them the best, and I hope they can persevere and come out on top. You know, it's very sad. For
sure, man. One more thing. You're a hunter. You're a fisherman, man. I seen you fishing for sharks. I seen you hunting coyotes. Coyotes for real? Like, I didn't know you could hunt that.
Yeah, dude. Coyotes are overran in Nevada, and they're just varmints, man. They're killing pets and stuff. And honestly, they're really, really smart animal, and they are disease ridden throughout Nevada. So anybody can hunt them at any time, anywhere. There's no season on them. It's an unlimited amount. You know, coyote hunting's been slow because they're getting smarter, but I still love shooting me some dogs every now and then.
All right, man. Well, you gotta get your chance to throw your hammers. June 26th, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas, man. Thank you, Justin, so much for the time. You are a busy man, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. You have a good day, okay?